Yeah. Okay, guys, we're back. I'm sure you guys are happy. We tried. We were on last week, weren't we? Didn't we do a show last week? Yeah, me and you went on right after Abby did our poetry, and me and you went on right after that, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Tonight's show's going to be interesting. Gabriella's taking over. Woo woo! Whoops. Okay. Today is February 18th, and it is a very cold February evening, like very cold. We're going to be talking single digits.
Linda's right. It was the week before because we didn't do anything last week because we were all sick.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because me and Abby even canceled our poetry hour because everybody was sick and there was a lot of stuff going on. I'll fill all of you guys in on some of the nightmarish things that I've been going through. And
send snow to Florida. We would love to.
Linda, we love the snow. It's not even the snow. It can, like, I remember back in the late 90s, it was like 96, 97. Like every week on Wednesday, there was always a storm, and we'd get like 3 to 4 feet snowfalls like every week. And we no sooner shovel out our cars and everything else, and they plow, and here comes another storm. So it's not the snow, but right now it's those frigid temperatures. Last night, we're in that cold snap again. Last night, the temperatures went to below zero with the wind chill. So it's and then we had rain like the day before, like torrential rain. So, needless to say, everything went all iced over. So, and it's kind of hard when you take the dogs out and they're like horses and they drag you along. It's like you're like ice skating with the dogs. So, but getting to the topic, Gabriella will start out before we go into what we're going to discuss, which if you look at her title, you kind of already know. But she'll give her facts. I'll do a little intro, and then Gabriella will take over. So with that, there you go.
So with the first fact being of Florida, it says Florida Disney World in Orlando is a no-fly zone. The popular theme park is one of the several no-fly zones in the U.S. per the FAA. It received permanent no-fly zone status in 2014. And yes, Disneyland and Anaheim, Florida is covered too.
Interesting. Florida. There you go, Linda. That was a Florida for you. Florida. Ooh.
Just second one is Georgia. Georgia. There were 4 other state capitals before Atlanta: Savannah, Augusta, Louisville, and Milledgeville.
Milledgeville? I don't know.
They are the states that are previously capitals.
I knew Savannah and Augusta, but I didn't know the other two. It could be Augusta. I say Augusta. I say Augusta. You say Augusta.
And the third one is Hawaii. Hawaii has the highest life expectancy out of any state. In 2020, the CDC reported that life expectancy in Hawaii was 80.7 years.
That's not bad. In my family, on my mother's side, on my mother's side, they lived always to be pretty close to 100 or over 100.
That's good.
So that's good for me. That's good. So that might not be good for you guys. Like, no, that just means you have to live with me all the more longer. And my craziness. Crazy,
We
crazy.
appreciate your craziness.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Where do you think I got it from?
Until you put me in that home, remember?
That
Okay,
was never
guys,
once
tonight,
gonna happen.
we're gonna talk about, we're gonna go into the Island of Dolls.
Dun, dun, dun.
Linda, that's from the Key West area in Florida, so that should be pretty interesting for you. I'm going to do like a little intro, go into a few things that not with the Island of Dolls, and then Gabriella will take over. And anybody has any questions, even if you're watching this later on, guys, anybody that tunes in later, we will always, if we see a comment show up and it's something that it's an idea for a future show, or if you have a question, like there was one here and we didn't get to answer it right away, and it was about angels and why can people see demons but they can't see angels or as much. There is a reason for it that I found. So with this one tonight, we're going to start with haunted dolls in particular. And a haunted doll is a doll or stuffed toy that is said to be possessed or cursed. Dolls can be creepy because they look lifelike, but they lack emotion. This can make the brain feel uneasy as if the doll is watching you. And if you look at some dolls, it does look like their eyes are piercing right through your soul.
Pretty creepy.
So, which is what's weird about the Annabelle doll, the actual real one, because she is actually a Raggedy Ann doll. And they're just all sewn. It's nothing like real, like where you get a lot of these other dolls, and they got eyes that you swear they're watching you everywhere you go. Like their eyes are like creepy. And which takes us to, in the 18th and 19th centuries, artists and writers began exploring the horror of dolls becoming more realistic. So that's when they started discovering that, hey, why are these dolls moving and their eyes are watching you, and things happen only when a doll is brought into the house. So, which leads us to Robert the doll in Key West, Florida. He's said to be the world's, not America's, but the world's most haunted doll. And there is a lot of history surrounding Robert. If you want, sometime Gabriella and I can go in and we can do a lot of research on Robert. And or on my show, I can do like a show just strictly on Robert. So just let us know in the comments, and we'll try to do the best we can to make you happy with what we find. Gabriella, what are you doing?
Trying to keep my mic up.
You're pissing and around.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Do, 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 do.
I'll turn it up a little bit.
Can you hear?
Is it good?
Can you hear me?
Can't really hear my side, to be honest.
Gabby, can you hear me?
Whatever, it's fine.
Okay, now with that little intro, Gabriella is going to go into the Island of Dolls. Now, she did a report on this when she was in school, so she already had some knowledge on it, and she did a little bit more research. So it's showtime.
Which everywhere that I looked, because I tried to cross-reference things, it was pretty much the same on every single website. I did find a little extra information.
Can you bring one of those pictures up or something? Or no?
Did you just interrupt me?
I just asked a question.
You interrupted me while I was
Don't you
speaking.
guys want to see a picture of the Island of Dolls?
Let's see if I can do
I'm
this.
sure you do.
Hold on.
Hold on. Hi, Michael. Hi, B Squared. How you guys doing?
Hey, everybody's here.
See, look, Kiwi. My grandma was 99 and 364 days old when she passed. My mom was 90. I think she was 94. But my grandfather, I believe he was 100 or 101. I think he made his 100th. And that was on my mother's side, by the way. So you gotta show me how to do that. Yeah, because I'm a little bit goofy in the brains.
Oh no.
Hold on, F1. It should be in my history over there. I don't know if you can bring it up out of that. Down. That's the whole big. There's one. I think they even have a picture of the island somewhere down there.
I don't think it's on this website. The island is basically just a floating garden.
Like it's like a swamp or something. Yeah.
They said it's a garden.
It's a garden?
Yeah.
Oh. So.
Why won't it let me share this? What is happening?
Oh no, Gabriella.
Check on your phone if this is
Showing up.
doing its thing that it's supposed to.
Ask. Can you peeps see it?
I can't do that when I'm on the website.
Can you peeps see it? Gee
I wish I
whiz.
could do that.
No.
Hold on 1 second. It is.
There it is, yeah.
You liar.
I'm sorry. She's calling me a liar. Can you believe that shit?
Let me see 1 second if I can do this a different way.
Okay.
So, what's that?
I was going to say, if you just leave that up, you can pull up little pictures off and on. Cactus Moonlight, welcome back. There you go.
Michael is here. Beastbird is here.
We got everybody coming in.
I could do that one, but that makes like a tunnel vision. I guess I could do this. Uh-huh.
So there you go. We can do it there.
I
So there you
figured it
go.
out.
Go into your little spiel.
Okay, so it freaked the little tour guide out. I was dying. What? Oh, okay. You guys are having a conversation. I was confused. Butting into conversations in the comment section. Sorry. Anyways, that's one of the dolls from the Island of Dolls.
I wonder if she's the one that washed up because she looks all muddy. Did they ever say which one was her doll? Well, you have to tell the story first. I'm jumping ahead of the gun. Go ahead.
Anyways, so the Island of Dolls starts with a story of Don Julian Santana Barrera.
Say
Got a
that 3
long name.
times.
He was a native of a borough in Mexico City that I cannot pronounce, so I'm not even going to try, out of respect to all the people that may reside in Mexico or Mexico City. Anyways, so Don Julian left his wife and family sometime in the mid-20th century to sequester himself on an island on Texulu Lake. Dun, dun, dun.
Don't we have a dun dun
I don't
dun?
think we have a dun dun dun
Oh
thing.
man.
We have gunshots. I don't know, that's a song.
Hey, there's an island. That would be appropriate.
I guess that works. So not long after he relocated, he made a chilling discovery on the shores of the island, which was the body of a young girl drowned in the lake. A doll came floating down the canal shortly afterward, changing the course of his life and the shape of the island for years to come. He became haunted by the doll.
I didn't know that.
I mean, not the doll, the girl. And this is where I kind of, because I already wrote all of this down, and then when I cross-referenced, I saw this part, so I added that part to it. And then these.
I didn't know that he became haunted by the spirit of the girl.
Yep.
I know that her spirit was lurking the island, but I
So he became haunted by the spirit of the girl, and to appease her, he got the doll and hung it on a tree. It says, but at least in the eyes of the man who now considers himself the island's caretaker, the one doll was not enough.
Interesting.
It also said, like when I was doing the research, that the more dolls that he put up, the more like he would start getting haunted by things. And to appease their spirits, he just kept on putting up more and more dolls. So it says, for the next 50 years, Santana Barrera would scrounge dolls from the trash and from the canals and hang them from the island's many trees. Some he'd hang whole, others in various states of disrepair, headless, torsoless, or taken apart in other ways. And then it goes on about how that he doesn't sound like a normal person or like a healthy grasp on reality. And it says the biggest question, the reality of the girl who died, many people, including Don Julian's own family, didn't believe that he ever found the girl. Although whether they believe he made it up, imagined the experience, or was somehow mistaken is unclear. What is clear is whether the girl existed or not. Don Julian devoted the rest of his life to her, and perhaps the creepiest of all, even the end of his life had clear ties to the story of the drowned child. In 2001, Don Julian Santana Barrera passed away. His body was discovered drowned in the canal in the exact place he had always said he'd seen the little girl. In response, tourists began flocking to the island to pay tribute. They brought dolls of their own, and to this day, people honor both Santana Barrera and the little girl by hanging up dolls in tribute. And then it's like, the dolls on the island are threatening, even in the bright light of midday, but in the dark, they are particularly disturbing. Local legend says that the dolls move their heads and arms and even open their eyes.
Yeah, that's like rather creepy.
I just looked up and saw
Don't
B
look.
Square's comment. Don't look at his eyes, Blossom. I don't like the dolls looking into myself.
There's a couple other ones on there, and they have that picture on there too with all of them that's hanging.
Yeah, let me get to that. If I can do that. There we go. Ah.
Those ones are on like a fence. Those ones aren't even like on a tree. They're like on a
I
fence.
think they ran out of trees to put them on the
Yeah.
island, so they started putting them on fences, on the ground, on anything they could hang them on. But anyways, it says also that some witnesses claim that they had heard the dolls whispering to each other, while others who were on a boat near the island said the dolls lured them to come to the island.
Wow. That's interesting.
And that's all I got.
That's interesting. But see, I know we watched a show on the Island of Dolls the other day. Well, it wasn't on particularly on the Island of Dolls. It was on scary places throughout America. And lo and behold, the Island of Dolls was one of them. And it said when the little girl drowned, when her spirit first came to the island, when it came back, the natives of the island kept on saying they could hear a spirit saying, "Where's my doll? Where's my doll?" That was all she wanted. And that's when the doll washed up, and whatever his name was, Don Julian, he's kind of got attached to her. But I'm wondering if somehow at that time her spirit didn't already kind of control him. Did he have children? Do you know? Well, you said he had kids, right?
He had family. He had a
Yeah.
wife and children, and he just up and left one day. They don't know why, but they thought that maybe he was starting to go insane by then, and then being alone on the island, not really seeing that many people,
And if you have a spirit of a little girl calling you,
he
then
kind of
he
probably went
yeah.
insane.
Interesting.
But the whole little girl spirit thing that he claims to have seen, nobody, none of the locals or anybody actually believed that that happened. They just think he was a crazy old man. Not even his family believed him.
See, that's weird though, because if you watch some shows about it, there are people that go. Some of the investigators, I think old Zach Bagans was there, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think he was too.
And they did say, not, I don't go by Zach Bagans, but there's a lot of people that have gone there that said that they thought they could hear some of the dolls crying and some laughing. They thought they saw a spirit of a little girl. So there's supposed to be some credibility to it.
I mean, I don't doubt that there's the spirit of a little girl. I think the part that they're finding kind of like, yeah, right, dude, was the part that he found the little girl in the canal, and then, like, shortly after, a doll came floating by that could have been hers, but maybe it wasn't, and he just hung it up for
I'm gonna
tribute.
have to rewatch that little section that we watched the other day because I know that they said she was looking for her doll, and lo and behold, it supposedly come washing up not too long later. But at that time, because she was looking for her doll, that they started bringing dolls to the island to try to appease her, to make her happy because she was searching for her doll. You don't need to apologize for any typos or anything, Michael.
Yeah, Mom
Never.
has real life typos.
Yeah, it's everybody does typos. That's nothing anybody ever needs to apologize for.
We had a neighbor years ago that had a mound of dolls decoratively in her entryway. I'm still afraid to imagine what the rest of the inside of the house looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people that just collect dolls like crazy. Now, I have a collection of dolls, but they're Indian dolls. And they were brand new. They weren't like they were straight from a factory. Yeah, that one, put that up. They were not like old dolls or anything. However, I did have an old doll that I don't know whatever happened to her. She was like my favorite doll when I was little.
Gabby and Diane, to let you in on the confusion earlier, went to a ghost tour at Central Station in Memphis and was the first person to sit on the haunted bench.
Oh, that's very cool.
Well, how did that go?
Yeah, how did that go? Did he answer?
Did you get a spirit that touched your booty?
Yeah, did it touch your butt when you sat on the bench?
Like, this is my bench. Grab. Just a little grippy grip.
Little grippins. Cactus, I'm with you there. Ivan speaking typos. Yep, that's us.
Just blame spell checker. I do.
So you did the
Thank goodness.
you did the research before and now on this. What do you feel about what's going on in that island? Do you think the little girl's death in itself brought it, or do you think there was always something? Because from what I took from the documentary that I watched, that little clip, it almost seemed like there was something already there, and when she fell in, it made it even more haunted.
Yeah, so that's the thing that's like confusing me. Like, okay, they both died the same way. That's ironic. Nobody knows exactly what happened to them, just that they drowned. Like something was like holding them down or something.
See, and I read that people went to visit the island. Some of the people that live there, some of them had boating accidents and drowned that they couldn't explain,
Yeah,
and
I'm
things
thinking
like
there's
that.
like a sea creature of some sort.
Is it Bigfoot?
It's big little foot in the water.
If it was a churro.
It's
Hey, that could have lured him.
It's a swamp monster.
And he left his wife.
Could have been.
I'm telling you.
She got revenge. Yeah, but what about the little girl? She died the same way.
Yeah, but hers was an accident, maybe. I don't know.
His was
I
supposedly an
don't
accident
know.
too.
You're supposed to be the one with these
That's what I'm
crazy
coming
theories.
up with the theories.
With-
Swamp monster.
A Bigfoot swamp monster.
Yeah, you get too
That
close
was-
to the water. Cookie goes, come here,
I'm not
boy.
even going to try to take a drink because I know what will happen. I think a lot of its backstory had to do with pareidolia, but the tour guide did confirm my claims in the jukebox that turns on by itself that there's a ghost named El Martha there. That is pretty interesting. That is really, really, that's what you do. All of your channel is on specifically that type of things, correct, Michael? Like you just, your channel, do you investigate too, or is most of your channel just like, because I've checked it out, but I didn't, I'll be honest with you, I haven't had time really to check out anybody's channel in depth, but I know that you do a lot of research. And, but I wasn't sure if you did investigations too.
Let's see if I can find the actual island itself. Just to show you guys what it looks like.
That's a creepy doll right there.
We're all creepy.
Goodness.
Look at that one.
Oh, you should show that one to Cactus. That's a pretty one that right there. Right there. Oh, yeah, that's a good clip.
Oh, so pretty.
Yeah, that's a good clip.
Okay, we'll do that. Hello. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just getting back into the investigating. We're trying to, we're releasing a video on Friday. The very first part, there's some things in it. It's not like real active in the first part. It was as the night went on. But anybody that watches ours, these videos that we put out are raw. They're as you see it. The only editing is if there's like, say, 15, 20 minutes, it's completely dry and it says talking and absolutely nothing happens. Like in the video, you're going to see Chase dropped a flashlight, scared the bejesus out of us, almost gave us a heart attack. And I tell the spirit we were trying to talk to him there, well, hey, we almost joined you. So, yeah, I think I'm going to devote probably maybe one day this weekend to watch Michael's videos. What's the most interesting place or documentary or story that you've done so far, Michael? Oh no, Gabby theory, run. And I see, Michael, you said, yeah, I don't edit anything lazy. It kind of like is laziness in a way, but at the same time, you're showing that raw footage. So there's no margin for anybody to step in and say, oh,
Yeah,
you
because
put
if
this
you
in.
edit too much, then they're like, oh, it's because they edited this into it and edited that into it. But if you don't edit at all, you can't get people to say that because it's nice and smooth the whole way through.
Yeah.
Be able to tell what happened before and after. The REM pod's going crazy.
Yeah, so there's some pictures right there on the screen. The one to the right and is the island itself, and as you can see, the dolls hanging up on the trees and everything. Can you imagine walking there, especially at night?
I'd be afraid.
Now, didn't somebody say the island now you can't access it? You can't go there anymore?
I think you can still go there, but only by boat. And I don't think you can actually go on the island. I think you can go around the island.
Did they
on a
say
boat
why
or
though? Do you know why?
Probably mysterious death.
Or somebody was telling me that it got invaded by like bugs or something, spiders or ouch, or big bugs or something like that, some kind of critters.
Yeah, damn it.
Maybe it was Bigfoot.
The bottom of the chair cut me.
You're not supposed to do that. So okay, so now, here's the question I don't understand. These dolls that there's only torsos and heads or a head and no torso, how did that come about? Did they say and why? Was it people brought those in? Just old things that they found from trash or something in that? Or like, why not like brand new dolls or
Because Don Julian was already putting just pieces of them.
but
Whatever
why? Did
pieces that
they
he
say
found.
why?
Just to commemorate whose doll it might have been.
That's just weird.
He didn't care. He was like, hey, this doll is only a torso. Okay.
And he
it's
found them
still
on the
someone's-
island, or he found them
Yeah, he
elsewhere?
found them in trash on the island in the canals. He just kept on grabbing them.
So isn't that weird then? Why is there so many dolls
That's
and that
what I was gonna say. It seems like whatever's there goes after the children. Or at
little
least tries to
girls?
lure them in.
Did you just see?
We have a REM pod right there, by the way, guys.
Yeah, and if once we put that picture down, we start just BSing. And the left behind where you see me and Gabriella right now, you're going to see our doorway going into the kitchen, and you're going to see some red lights. At any time ever, if either I'm doing my video or me and Abby or me and Gabriella, if you see any shadows or anything, let us know because we know there's
Yeah,
something.
actually, I need to face that more towards the doorway.
Yeah, be squared. I got somebody told me, I think they said that it was invaded by like some kind of bugs or spiders or something.
Searching it up.
That may be, I don't know. That just might be just a rumor, not actual facts.
Yeah, it says you still can visit the Island of Dolls by taking a boat tour.
But you can't go on the island itself. I think that's where
No humans live here anymore. Only
twins
dolls.
should go. So that would be like, okay, to me, walking on the Island of Dolls would be like going into the Warren Museum where they have all those haunted artifacts. You agree?
I guess it would have to depend on what might have happened to whoever's doll it belonged to. Like, let's say that a kid just drowned in the river because they weren't paying attention, or their parents weren't paying attention or something, and they just so happen to have the doll with them. It wouldn't be back for revenge or like.
That's true because a lot
like
of the things in the War Museum is supposed to be vengeful.
If it was like a girl that got drowned in the lake with something that was like holding her down, or she got pushed or something, she'd be there and be like, "The fuck happened?"
Yeah.
So she would want to.
Cactus. I used to have a slight crush on Zach Bagans way back. When he first started out, Cactus, he was okay. And I think that's kind of what drew his crowd to him to begin with, is because he did have a big female fan base. But as the years went on and his ego started stepping in, of course it started making him ugly because nobody wants to be around or watch somebody that has that big of an ego.
You heard of Ruby?
No. Go ahead and read about Ruby. Does anybody on here ever hear of Ruby the doll? The Ruby doll?
So I was trying to figure out like why nobody can actually visit the island, but then this popped up. It says, "What is the mysterious doll in the world?" And it says Ruby. Ruby is a porcelain doll with a penchant
Yeah.
for moving around from place to place, currently residing with the Travel Museum of the Paranormal and the Occult. She comes from mysterious origins. Her previous owner said she had originally belonged to a little girl in the family who died while holding the toy.
Wow. Where did they say she's at now? Did they say where she's at? She's in the traveling.
Traveling Museum
But
of
where
the
was she?
Paranormal and the Occult.
Where did she originate?
I don't know. It says she has mysterious origins. I'm trying to find information on the Island of Dolls.
Yeah, because somebody, like I said, I don't know if I read it somewhere or somebody said something
Somebody
about.
said there is no more Island of the Dolls in November of 2022. It's just a park now. Don't spend 4 hours getting there and back like we did. After the old man dies, the family removed almost all the dolls from the island. There is a park like the photo with some sculpture, but no dolls. I was very disappointed.
Linda, you're from Florida. Check into that. See if the Island of Dolls is still down there in Key West. And if you can access it or Michael, you like doing that type of research, huh?
It's not in Florida, Mexico.
Yeah, well, it said Key West. Oh, that's Robert. Never mind. I'm thinking of Robert.
Confusing
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. I'm thinking of Robert. Shoot me in the face. I got the two mixed up. Sorry. Yeah, it's from Mexico. So anybody here from Mexico? Can you check for us? I never heard of the Ruby doll either, B squared, until she just said that right now. No, like I heard of the Robert doll, and there's supposed to be a lot of like you have to watch when you see him, and you have to ask permission to take a photo, I guess. And if you do something that they think might have offended Robert, then you have to write a letter asking for his forgiveness. And if you don't, then something can happen to you. And this was like this whole big thing surrounding Robert. I watched a documentary on him one time. Don't remember all of it though.
You can take a virtual tour of the Island of Dolls, I guess.
We're gonna have to do research and see if it's still open. See if it's still open. Anybody have any questions? I know it wasn't real long, but of course there mustn't be that much to find anymore than on it. But I know the little documentary that we saw the other day, it was saying about that the village people said that the little girl, she strolled away from her parents or whatever and drowned in the water, and she was holding her doll when she drowned. And when they found her, that her spirit walked the island, and the reports are the natives of that little island said that she would the only she'd call for her mom, but she'd call for she wanted her doll. Where's my doll? Where's my doll? That's what they claimed to have heard her say. Where's my doll? And she was crying in sadness because she wanted her doll. And then next thing you know, the doll comes up on, they find it and recovered it. And then that's kind of how.
So ironically, this post is from a girl named Gabriella. And she said, if I could give this place a 0, I would. As a massive horror fan, I was deeply disappointed with this place. Don't come there unless you have a Mexican friend to back you up. They sold us a 4-hour trip to the Island of Dolls for 2,000 pesos, knowing that the original island was closed. From what we understand via Google Translate, the original hasn't been open for a while. And then took us to the fake one. So not only did they waste 4 hours of my life, but I also paid 2,000 pesos for something I didn't even want to see.
Wow. So and that was 2022, June of 2022. So that was only almost 3 years ago. So that's pretty recent. So according to what it looks like with while she's scrolling, it looks like they're like scamming people now involving the island, which is which is really horrible because that's one of the places that everybody talked about there for the longest period of time, especially when haunted dolls came into the picture. So that's pretty disturbing to find out that they took something like that and just kind of used it for their profit. Yeah. So 2,000 pesos is about $100. That's
This is a really long one, but it's interesting too.
Well, go ahead and read it, I guess. You can read it. Okay.
Hopefully this doesn't do that.
Crackling.
This stupid interference thing. This guy said, I was one of those tourists who was attracted by the Island of Dolls story. The place seemed controlled by local gangsters so that you had to pay for those slow, large boat rides, even if you only have one person. So they would charge you $2,000 plus.
Party pesos. Yeah. Like
Well,
she's,
yeah. Plus all following scams. If kayaks/motorboats were allowed, it's literally 15 minutes to get to the island. Okay, I paid them $2,000 for the island, and the boater was like 14-year-old like a 14-year-old boy, and he took me to all those you must pay to see nothing, otherwise you have to wait there here 30-minute places. I asked 1,000 times, please take me directly to the island. Obviously he ignored. Eventually he took me to the island, the fake one. I did the research and started asking, could you please take me to the original island? Well, the answer is no, this is the one. And he was clearly lying. Took me another 30 minutes for back and forth conversation with this boy to let him admit this was the fake one. He asked another $500 because we delayed too much time on other spots. Seriously, who delayed all those time drinking beer when I asked to be taken to the island directly? Okay, I decided to pay the scam, and in the end, I was taken to another island. I don't know whether this was the real one, as those people were doing music loudly and barbecue on the island. Is there no vibe for creepy at all with all the barbecue smoke? Plus, those dolls look super merchandise and tourism. If this was the original island, I highly doubt locals made up a story to trap tourists. Plus, when I stepped on the island, 5 strong men surrounded me to charge $200 for entrance. I took my stand and negotiated down to 50. The negotiation process looked like I was dealing with gangsters. Special note from my boater, he intentionally made it super slow. All the other boaters bypassed him and made endless stops to fix his boat, drink beer, make phone calls. And he didn't know why until he told him the boat is paid by hours.
Wow. Wow. So it sounds like they turned it into a big scam now. Because there was a lot of, like, I mean, that was kind of one of the most captivating stories ever, especially around the time when Annabelle started getting really big and people started learning about Robert and all those other haunted artifacts. Island of Dolls always came up. That's like a big disappointment.
This one's in 2021. I don't know.
That girl there was creepy, that doll. Holy moly. Yeah, it looks like they're just doing all tourists now, and
Yeah,
that's partly why the fences, because the original one, I did not see a fence. It was just the island, and all the dolls were just, and it was kind of like looked like a forest. Yeah, yeah, see, like a forest area because it was all green, all trees, and it was just real creepy. And the one I remember too is there was like a shack, and there was dolls hanging inside of a shack too. And I think it was when Zach and his crew was there, and they said that they thought that they saw one of the dolls move, and they thought they heard, I think, either crying or laughing coming from it. So Michael did answer. He said, my favorite story that I came across so far was the Lemon Mansion in Missouri. Supposedly 4 people off themselves with self-inflicted gunshot wounds, and a mysterious death took place there. Wow. 4 people. Yeah, it sounds like they made a pact or something affected them. Were they all at the same time? Yeah, you could definitely activity there. That's investigators would have a field day. But I like going into a place. I like knowing like the history of the building itself, and then I don't really like learning too much about deaths and things like that until after the investigation, because if we happen to get names and that come through, then I can ask whoever's there, hey, these names come up. Does it correspond with anything or relate to anything pertaining to that building or that time period? And then if they connect, then there you go.
Okay, yeah. So this one was March 2019. I'm sorry, I'll get off the subject. And
No, we are supposed to be on this subject.
I know, but I'm kind of bypassing all their comments, and I don't want to do that. Anyways, March 2019, this person said, this was a highlight of our trip to Mexico City. A few things to know. It should be a 2-hour boat ride there, plus a 2-hour boat ride back. Our ride was beautiful, didn't feel like 2 hours. You should expect to pay $2,000 pesos for the boat ride. The entrance fee is 40 pesos each. Do your research. The real doll island is surrounded by bamboo fence, very difficult to see from the water. The boat ride is very peaceful and relaxing if you do not go to the tourist side of the boats. I would strongly suggest that you hire a guide, tourist, or localist to take you. This is not a nice place for young children. This is a spooky place with a sad history. So yeah, I guess there's 2 Island of the Dolls. But one is a complete tourist attraction.
And then
all
the
they
other
want
one's
is money, and then the other one, you have to find the right people to take you there.
and it's it said surrounded by that fence.
Yeah,
where
apparently
you
it's
can
really
get-
hard to find.
You scare with me,
Oh, hi,
Pee-wee.
King Pee-wee.
You scare with me, Pee-wee.
The snuggle
Scare
bubble.
with. Okay, Michael, I'm not sure if it was the same time or in separate years or even in the same room, because the archives I was going through didn't even give. But that's still it's kind of weird when you have the same, like if you have deaths in a place and they're different of different means, but when you have all that type of death, then you kind of have to wonder, okay, what caused them to go in that manner? There has to be something odd about that.
Hey, it's my coffee. Get away from
So
me.
that's like the Island of Dolls. One person drowns, and then they're
Another person drowns,
saying,
they're finding a whole bunch
yeah.
of dolls, and yeah, something's weird.
So it is weird.
That's
It's
probably
real,
why they
real
don't let
weird.
people go there.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You guys, if do you have any topics that you want, like, do you want when me and Gabriella come back again on our next show too, since we're talking about haunted dolls tonight, do you want us to delve a little bit deeper into Ruby and Robert and even more into I think everybody pretty much knows a lot about the Annabelle, but a lot of people still don't understand that the Annabelle doll that they showed on the movie Annabelle is not the real Annabelle doll. The real Annabelle doll is actually a Raggedy Ann doll. So a lot of people didn't realize that when they watched the Annabelle movies.
I feel like we're like moved over or something. Why can't you see the background now?
Well, why don't you take that picture off now, and then that way they can keep an eye to see if they see in the back there in our kitchen there.
But why do I feel like we're moved over more? Why does it feel like the table's moved over more or something? Something's off.
He's on the.
Well, yeah, now you're gonna make Linda think that I clicked her off again.
Pee-wee. You're bad. He's real bad.
Okay. He's okay.
What do you do? Well, the chairs aren't where we usually have the chairs positioned different.
I don't know. It just feels weird.
Like what's real weird about it? What am I missing?
I don't know. It just feels weird.
You're
Something's
weird.
weird.
That's because you haven't been here too much lately.
Maybe this chair is just moved over a little bit more.
Over this way?
That way.
Yeah, it is.
I'm fixing this.
You're fixing
I'm
it.
getting comfy, guys.
You're fixing it. You're fixing it.
You all up in your personal bubble.
Yeah.
All up in your personal bubble.
Yeah. See, my doll, that's one of my dolls behind. That big doll there, she's real tall. She's probably 2.5 feet tall. And Tom got her for me on one of his trips because he knows that I like Indian dolls. But the other dolls that I got, they all are Native American. I have them in boxes. They're wrapped up. I don't have them like out on display.
Some of them are creepy.
No, they're not. They're beautiful. Why are they creepy?
Some of them look like they're piercing into your soul.
Because they made the features realistic on
Well,
them.
they shouldn't have done that.
You shouldn't be looking at them where they're looking and saying that they're piercing right through your soul.
You shouldn't buy porcelain dolls. That's just scary.
They're brand new. It's not like I got some of the stuff like you bring to me that we don't know who had them before.
How do you know?
That's probably what
that the stuff that they're made of is brand new. It could be recycled.
Okay, so
Yeah,
here's what's been going on, guys. So as you know, we haven't been on. Of course, the whole family has been sick. I'm 65. I get Social Security. I retired a few years back. It was getting harder and harder to work 16 and 18-hour days at the store, unloading anywhere trucks from 1,000 pieces to 2,500 pieces with just our crew was usually women. We hardly had any men helping and unloading all that heavy stuff. It was taking its toll on my back. Plus, being a manager of the store, I would stock out like 100 or more cases on top of unloading the truck, and blah, 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 all that good stuff. So I retired. Anyhow, to make a long story short, I started collecting Social Security. So with Social Security, once you hit 65, they start sending you're eligible for Medicare. So I ended up getting Medicare. Well, I did not know that Medicare, well, I did know, but I didn't know all the details. Medicare Part A and B, and there's C and there's D. Well, Medicare Part A is hospitalization and all that cost, and that's totally free. Medicare Part B, if you opt for that, that's for like doctor's appointments and all that, which I never go to the doctor. I don't need it. But they don't tell you that out of your Social Security, they take a big chunk for those costs. So I contacted them up and I said, hey, I don't get that much as it is. I don't want that part because you have that option of not taking that part of Medicare. So I said, I don't want that because I can't afford to lose that kind of money. So they said, all you need to do is write a letter in and tell them that you are opting out of that and everything would be good, because that was all supposed to start for me in October when they was going to take my first payment out. So I wrote the letter in July. They received it and said they had it on record in August. They told me to wait for 30 to 60 days for it to set in. And October, I might have that amount taken out, but from October on, I should have my full amount again. And if they did take October out, they would give me that money in arrears. Well, I waited actually until about November, and I called them and I said, hey, they're taking this money out. I opted for them, that I did not want Medicare Part B. And they said, oh, okay, we do see that we got your letter. we'll see what we can do about it. And they told me 30 to 60 days. Now, I'm going to kind of segue a little bit. If anybody ever saw the movie Money Pit with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long, they were fixing this mansion for them, and every time they turned around and said, when is this going to get done? They said 2 weeks. I'm living the real life 2 weeks, but instead of being 2 weeks, it's wait 30, 60 days. So anyhow, getting back to the story, I called in November. They said, oh, we do see that there's a letter in there, but nothing has been filed yet. So they said, wait 30 to 60 days again. So December, I called back and they said that they received it, but for some reason, nobody even filed it yet. So they said 30 to 60 days. So I called back in January. When I called back in January, they said that they filed it, but it was sent to the wrong place, and he had fixed it, and he put an urgency on it, and that it should be taken care of. That was at the beginning of January. So January 23rd, I called back again. And I talked to a guy, and he said, well, in between this time, too, they said they were waiting on Medicare to do their part. I called up Medicare. Medicare said, we don't have anything to do. We told them we got the notification you didn't want it. All they needed to do is go on their computer, press a couple buttons, and it should have been taken care of. Now, you're talking about at this time, they already owe me in arrears. They owe me for October, November, December. Here comes January, so they owed me for January in arrears. So on January 23rd, I talked to a guy, and he says, oh, yeah, I see that we got the letter in August, and there was some kind of a mixed up. It was sent to the wrong place and that, but I see that there was an urgency notification typed in, and that right now, from what I'm seeing, it's showing completed. And he's told me that I should probably have a letter in the mail and then probably my arrears by February 7th. So I'm well, this is good. Hey, hallelujah. He was the first one that told me, didn't tell me, wait. So I called a couple days ago, last week, and I get this guy, and he tells me, he says, oh, yeah, your letter was sent in, but they kept on sending it to a different department. He says, I don't know why that guy told you completed, because here what I'm seeing is still saying processing. And I said, you're kidding me. You're telling me I'm going to have to wait longer. He says, well, I see that, I'm going to right now send it to the proper department. He said it needs to go to the processing department. I will send it there. And he says, I hate to say this to you, but you're probably going to have to wait 30 to 60 days. I'm there. You are freaking kidding me, aren't you? I said, right now, they owe me a pretty nice chunk in arrears, and you're telling me my February check is going to get affected, probably my March check, and I might have to wait till April yet. And he said, yeah, there's not much I can do. And I said, no. I said, I need to speak to somebody higher up. I said, if I have to, I'll talk to a representative or something. I said, this needs to be taken care of now. I said, I don't know if you have half-assed people working in your building or if they just don't give a F. I said, but you know what? I said, it's my money that they're stealing from me. If I owed that money, they'd be on my ass immediately and be saying, hey, pay me, pay me, pay me. I said, but the tables are turned. They owe me and they're hee-hawing around. I said, what kind of staff do you have working there? So he says, well, I'll put an urgency on it because I'll send it to the right department since they didn't. And he says, you still might have to wait 20 days. And he says, that's business days. So that means yesterday was President's Day, nothing was open, so that day didn't count. And any day that is a holiday won't count. Of course, weekends won't count. So here he's telling me all this. So needless to say, I was upset. I was crying on the phone because this is my money. I worked hard for this money. So I called up our governor. The governor said he couldn't do anything because he's just state. And since that's federal, try to call up one of the federal representatives. So I was on the phone for 2 days trying to get a hold of one of the federal representatives, and nobody's answering their damn phones. So I don't know. So between that, being sick, um, Tom was cranky from his job and a lot of things and that going around. It just like all it was like everything hit all at once. And the reason why I'm saying all this too is because now, like we said about watching stuff behind, when we was in our old house and we was having activity, we're pretty sure that there was stuff always going on there, but we think it amped up because she was going through some really bad things when we were in South Carolina, and we think that brought more of the negativity part into the bedroom. And we moved up here. We know we've seen a shadow, and we know that there's probably the lady that lived here, or mostly residual. But in the past 3 weeks, month, do you say, or more?
Well,
More
month or two.
recent. More recent, it's really amped up. Not anything negative, but we're noticing more shadows. We're noticing more of those flickering lights. The other night I heard behind me, and ironic, we had the spirit talker on, and as soon as I told Gabrielle I heard a breath, the word breath came up on the spirit talker. We did come straight out and we said, hey, because of the negativity in the house, could that have amped up the activity here? And we got responses, yeah, the negativity amped it up, and a lot of it seemed to be around Tom, from that maybe he brought it from the old house right before we moved when things were really getting bad, and some of it was brought here, and then because of his work and everybody being sick and finances and the stuff with Social Security and that amped it all up. So that's why we said, and we noticed shadows. We noticed we used the REM pod. The REM pod did go off the other night. We tried to get some EVPs. We really didn't get anything on the EVP.
But that's because the heat keeps kicking
Yeah.
off.
So, and with outside traffic and that, and we have air conditioning here in the window. Um, and there's a tree that's right by the house, and especially when we get any kind of heavy wind, the tree branches scrape up against that and makes weird sounds, so it makes it even creepier all around. But it's just why we watch in particular that spot back there. If be our luck, we'll be here talking and that, and somebody will say, whoa. Now, I do have a clip. If you go on Lurking Spirits, Abby just posted it. I think it was yesterday. It's a short. It was only like 58 seconds. It was from her old bedroom. Now, mind you,
Pee-wee, get out of the cupboard!
if you watch it, her bedroom looks like a hellhole, but we were in the process of moving, so there's clothes around and everything and that, and she wasn't sleeping in there anymore, and we just put
And it was my depressive state,
it
so I didn't want
was,
to do anything.
yeah. And so we just put a Ring camera in there and to see what we could catch, because we know there was activity in that room. And the clip that Abby posted, which I have I have probably 10 clips, but the one she posted was only 58 seconds long. And if you look real close at it, and she did put the part in slow-mo, on the very bottom of the screen, look at it real close, because you'll see a shadow go across the bottom of the screen. And then a couple seconds later, if you look up on the right, she does have it circled. If you look up the right corner, you can see a shadow up in the right corner. So we did actually catch the shadow, and it was no car going by. It was completely dark. It was in the middle of the night.
That was scary, but I think the scariest thing, because I was out of the room at that point, I wasn't like sleeping in there anymore or anything, but the scariest thing for me was when I was about to go to sleep, and then you could see something pull
the
my
blanket.
cover.
Yep. And we had that, and I when we moved and our Ring subscription canceled, all the ones that I didn't save went. So
The
I don't
funny
know.
thing is, I didn't even know. Like, I felt something, but I thought it was just me. Hello? I thought it was just me being weird. And then the next day I woke up and mom was like, did you know that something pulled on your cover? I was like, what? And then she showed me the video. It was like, oh, that's not creepy at all. I'm not sleeping in here
It
anymore.
was just nonstop. Like we literally, with the Ring camera, we were able to be in mine and Tom's bedroom because Tom was coming up here to try to get us this house, and so he was away for almost 3 months. Was it 3 months? Oh my.
It was like 3 months.
Yeah, it was a while because he was securing the job up here so we could get this house, and he was only able to come down like during the weekends and that. But so she stayed in the bedroom with me, and we were literally able to get on the Ring app, and we would put a REM pod on her bed, and we would say, oh, or and a flashlight, and we'd say, if you're in there, do you want to talk to Gabriella? And on cue, it would go off either the flashlight or the REM pod to her questions, and yes and no, like clockwork every single time. And we would watch the Ring camera for hours, and the flashlight didn't go off, the REM pod didn't go off, nothing. But as soon as she started asking questions, do you want Gabriella to come in there tonight and talk with you? It would respond.
It did that, and even when like I would go out with friends and everything, and I'd be putting makeup on in that mirror, I'd have like a cat ball in the background just to see if anything would reply to me or make any noises or anything while I was doing my makeup. So while I was doing my makeup the one day, I decided to put a cat ball behind me on the bed and a flashlight. Well, I just simply asked if anybody was there. The cat ball went off, wouldn't stop going off, and then the flashlight like flickered a few times, and I was like, "Okay, so you are here. You like the way I'm doing my makeup?" Like I was joking around and everything, but it was like answering me as I was asking questions. So I was like, "Okay."
I have another video. I think it's like 11 minutes from in her bedroom. And again, you have to like overlook the mess. But it was about, I think, 11 minutes or 16 minutes. I think for some reason 11, I'm going to sneeze. Did you hear that? Excuse me. Um, it was like 11 or 16 minutes, but Gabriella, normally if she would walk into the room, it would be like, and I've said this before, like was snowing in there, she'd walk out where they're like, that's probably just dust particles. But one of us would walk in and would watch the Ring camera and nothing. We'd walk out, she'd walk back in again, like orbs just like all over. And we tried to debunk it as dust, but it only happened when she was in. Well, I have a video where nobody was in the room. I think she had just got done, she was in there and she had gone out. And this video, if you watch it, it's like orbs, and they're not like dust, usually is like just all over. These would go in one direction, or they'd come out and then they'd go like just do real things, or they'd be glowy and they'd go like this glowing all around. And some of them will be big, some of them are like weird shape. I did have one, and I don't know if I'm gonna have to search because I thought I saved it. It was a clip. It almost looked like a what the Jesus. That's what we're talking about, but that one wasn't a spirit, that was Dylan. Jeez.
I am
I
going
was
to
seeing
kick
that,
your
like, holy
ass.
shit. But anyhow, we had one that when we zoomed in, it looked like a face because it was real weird shape. But if you watch this clip, you're gonna see you'll see all these orbs and some of them doing that glowing thing, just like doing like their own, like going, usually coming out from behind where she had her TV covered up or the where the mirror was, but they would come up and then all of a sudden everything would stop and you wouldn't see anything for maybe 2, 3 minutes. And then next thing you know, here comes these weird orbs again, and like some of the glowing ones. And that, so if it was dust, dust would be constant, or something would have to be in there to create the dust cloud. So how could you explain that it just totally and that's why I had it taped for like 16 minutes, like a period of time, so you could see that it clear up, nothing, and then all of a sudden here comes the orbs, and then it would clear up, and then orbs. I'm not sure if I want to post it, but then I don't want to post it because you get these people out there that no matter what, they're going to say, "Oh, that's just dust." Now, if you're watching it, you can see a couple bugs. You can see like a moth.
Yeah, I definitely had moths and
Yeah.
like June bugs and things in
Yeah.
my room.
So you could tell because you could see like it was like fluttery, like,
I
and
mean, I'm
some of you
glad
could
there wasn't
actually
like
even see the
I'm
wings.
glad there wasn't like flies in there.
Oh, I know.
That would have been scary.
But it's how do you explain it? Because like I said, if it was dust, then it would be pretty much constant, or somebody would have had to go in there and ruffle up something to cause the dust to go, and it wasn't. It was like 11 or 16 minutes straight through because it was on the Ring camera.
It was weird. Like she said, if it was dust, it would go all over the place. It would just be sporadic everywhere. This was really weird because nobody would be in there, but it would be like snowing, but in reverse or off to the side, but it would all follow.
Yeah, one direction.
It would all be in a group, and it would just follow all the other ones in whatever direction it was going.
And if you not notice the video, you're going to see she had a big TV in there. She had it covered up, and the reason why is because of any reflections. She had her mirrors covered up. She had the windows, the curtains are closed. Now, on occasion, you could see a car go by on the window to the left, but you can definitely distinguish car lights and car shadows from orbs.
The only mirror that I didn't have covered up was the one that was behind my door, and that was the one that we thought we saw like faces in. And
Yeah, there was handprints
matrixing
on
and
it.
stuff.
Remember? There's
Well,
a
there's
couple times.
handprints on
Yep.
that one, but there was also on the blanket that I had over the TV, like a
Oh,
name or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, the blanket that she had on her, covering up her TV screen. It was one of those blankets that it was like almost like a fleece or something. It's like if you rub your hand this way, it's real smooth, but if you go in reverse, it kind of ruffles it up a little bit, so you could easily write something in it. Well, we'd be watching on the Ring camera, and I look at Gabrielle and I said, "Does not look like a word on that blanket." So we kind of zoomed in, and there'd be like, what was the one
It
word?
was like letters.
One was like a W. One, I think it said now or something
One,
like
it
that.
was like initials. I think it was like T. I think there was an S in there somewhere. I think it was Sammy's initials.
And then the one was, I think it had the word like now or something on there, like
or hell. I think we thought it said like hell.
Oh, because we thought
it was hello
help or help.
or help or even just
Yeah.
hi, but then it.
Yeah. So I mean, it was really creepy in there, like, and
Sure, Dylan, it's so scary. He can be.
and there's things that you couldn't explain in that room.
It-
Because we try to debunk everything, even here, like that going off. We're just thinking, okay, well, it's just
Cactus, she said, did it feel threatening at all
Yeah.
or just mischievous?
No.
It was threatening. So we did the Estes method in my room a few times, and we also did like spirit box and things to try to communicate with it. We found out that there was a like rich guy that wanted women as his like trophy piece type of thing in my room, and he was pretty much trying to get me to bow down to him and do what he says and do what he's doing and stuff like that. And we told him, we were like, no, you don't have control here. We do. This is my room. I have control here. You listen to me. I don't listen to you. And so we never really had issues in my room. Sometimes it got scary.
Well, and we found out also, well, we had a jokester, Sammy, he was pretty cool, but we found out too, where our house was, there used to be like a girls' school and Mills and that, like the whole stretch there, and it was during the Confederate times, when Confederacy was there. And so there was houses and they had slaves. Well, we found out through one of the spirits that came through that somebody very rich lived in the house, and well, they owned the mill that was there, not lived in the house. It was the mill that was there. And apparently they had slaves working for them in the back, and they treated the slaves really bad and even hung some of them. And we did have a tree in our backyard that
Yeah,
was real creepy.
we didn't want
And
to go by.
she has like it's not a REM pod, but it's this I don't it's kind of like
It is a REM pod. It's just a
little
little blue one.
yeah, and it never goes off, never goes off. And we put it in that backyard in that one place where we felt real creeped out, and that freaking thing went off right in that
Multiple
spot.
times. It went off like 3-4 times. We thought maybe it was the vibration of cars going by, or we stepped on the ground and the brick or something that it was on was shaking
Yep,
or
didn't do
whatnot. We
nothing.
tried everything to recreate what it did, and we could not.
Michael says, Diane, I believe you. I had a similar experience on the tour, but I didn't get to capture it on film because my family was in the room. I saw some orbs that looked like snow in Bar area. And see, that's just it, Michael. I wish I could show a lot of those clips, and it's the same as the couple of the EVPs that I caught over for our private collection over at the jail. I really want to show them, but I just, first of all, they were for our private collection, the same as this ring thing. They were for our private collection because we wanted answers, but there was times you swear to God it was snowing in that bedroom, and like she said, if it was dust, it would just be all over the place. And these freaking orbs, they would be glowing, and they would do all this weird shit. Like they'd kind of go over here, and then all of a sudden they'd veer over here, like as if they were going to go into the mirror, or they would come out of the mirror and look, and they looked like they would go into where her TV was. So they all like had a mind of their own, like what direction that they wanted to go. And it's just like, you want to debunk everything. You really do.
Do
Because
y'all have candles in the room behind? I saw a light flickering in the middle.
those aren't candles. Those are actually orange Christmas lights that I just keep on all the time so we don't have to have our main light on, or a little like a nightlight type for when we wake up in the morning. We'll come down to the kitchen, make a cup of coffee, so we have a little bit of lighting in there. But what in the heck is that? But I think I know what he's talking about. Right in the back there, every now and then.
He said in the middle.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Right in that area, right?
I think I see what you're talking about.
Right in that area,
It
right
could
there.
just be the video.
Yeah, I think that it might be just but it's just weird too how that's all kind of like
I don't know.
weird, and we're not
It
all.
kind of does look like candles. It looks like spooky vibes
Yeah.
back there.
But we have those hanging up in there, so like when we go out, especially in the morning until we can turn the kitchen light on to take the dogs out, or when we come down for a cup of coffee,
I forgot that I cut my hand.
so that there's a little bit of light there for us to see. So yeah, you'll have to clean it out, especially considering it was the chair. Get any.
It hurt. That was the bottom of the chair. It just attacked me for no reason.
Yeah, everybody that if you from here, that's what it looks like, that they're candles.
It does.
But they're not. They're
Like
just
those floating candles you can hang on the
so you
ceiling.
can see back there every now and then. It does look like. I wonder. I bet you. I know what they're saying. The other lights going down to the art room.
No.
The flickering
Because
lights.
it would have been doing
Nope.
that the whole time.
Oh, okay. Well, that debunked that. I don't know.
And those ones aren't even on. Doesn't look like it. I don't think.
They should be on. I had them on.
I don't see any flickering back there.
Well, I had them on.
Oh.
So if somebody turned them off, I'm gonna kick their
I
ass.
guess Jeremy doesn't like the lights being plugged in.
Yeah, Jeremy. Yeah. And getting back to that. So we were asking all of that stuff the other night, and we got there was somebody came through, and he said his name was Jeremy, and we still can't figure out if he's trying to warn us that.
It was a weird session.
Yeah, like if he was trying to look over us, or if he was trying to give us not a bad warning, but that if the negativity keeps up, it's going to get worse. It's going to project or manifest more negativity in the spirit realm. We don't know. We kept on trying to find out what Jeremy's purpose was, and we really couldn't.
What was interesting though was
See, it
the
looks like
night
it's doing that
before.
again. Look.
The night before, we kept on asking questions and everything, and it got kind of creepy in the one little hallway that goes out to mine and Dylan's apartment. And we were having a nice session and talking to the spirit and getting things. Next thing you know, us being scared and all, Pee Wee decides to try to open up the freaking cabinet door, and he slams it and then scared the crap out of us. I jumped into Mom's arms. I was like,
He gave us our heart attack like you would not believe, because it wasn't like, we don't feel like there's anything negative here, but we do feel like there has been negative energy because of all the negativity, especially that Tom was creating lately, like for the last several
yeah, we're
months.
pretty sure that in the old house it was most likely me, but the things that were going on in the house and everybody's negativity kind of definitely didn't help that. But here, we knew that there was something here. It was usually something that was, what's it called when it goes in the same sequence? Residual. It was very residual, and then that kind of stopped, and it started getting more sporadic. Like, you see shadows, and then they disappear.
That could
and then
explain why
see,
they followed your dad too, because like he said, he literally felt like they were following him.
yeah, and then you'll see something that is in a different room but does the same thing. And
Yeah, Kiwi
hear
has
lots of
Baker's
sounds.
Ruin It for the Genuine Paranormal. I think that's what gets me upset, like, and I said this 1,000 times and I can't say it enough. If you're a good paranormal investigator, you're going to try to debunk stuff immediately. But my fear as a paranormal investigator is that somebody is going to get the best. Like, we have some stuff that we're not saying it's paranormal, but you really have to put like that shadow in her room and those orbs and some of the EVPs we got, and that, like, you really have to say, is this the afterlife? Because you can't debunk it, but you're always going to get these higher ups, and I'm not mentioning names, that's going to say, oh, I can explain that. And then I think it was either Mythos or Beardo just came out with, and I'm not trying to target them and badmouth them, but like, now you're not supposed to use a spirit box because spirit boxes don't work. And like, this equipment, yeah, a lot of it has to base on energy and that, but why are they making this equipment and improving it all the time if there's not some credibility to it? There has to be some kind of credibility to it for it to work. I mean, you have these people that'll go and say, well, it's iron, or it's the cement wall, or there's something, they're setting it off. How can that be? Most of us, when we do our investigation, we go through a walk, and even over at the jail, we put the EMF readers and the REM pods and that right there, right next to the bars, right on the floor, like, and nothing at all. But as soon as we started asking questions, then all of a sudden it started working. How do you explain that? Like, and right to cue, flashlights. People hate the flashlight method, but this video that we just did, the one that we're probably going to have, it's going to be a couple parter again, because we were over there for several hours. And especially for Beverly, she would ask a question and that flashlight came on and off right like this on cue. And you'll see 15 to 20 minutes before, 15, 20 minutes after, it does absolutely nothing. But every time she asked a question, just like that, it would go off. You can't debunk that. Like, I don't care what scientific bullshit you're trying to push out. You can't debunk that. Are we saying it's 100% paranormal? No. but there has to be some credibility about that for it to be doing that. So, see, Michael, that's you have to be some kind of energy source. There has to be there. I mean, and somebody somewhere had to have kind of come to that deduction, whether doctor, scientist, whatever, that actually had some kind of a maybe it was a hospital equipment or something. Somebody went into the paranormal field as a surgeon or a doctor, and they noticed every time somebody passed away that the equipment would start doing funky things, and they come up with the idea, okay, you know what? I think there's life after death because every time after these people die, this equipment goes off. So there has to be some kind of an energy source around it that's causing it. Who knows? I mean, there has to be some credibility into these pieces of equipment, or why are they upgrading them and constantly making this equipment if it doesn't work at all? I mean, I don't know. So, Cactus, thank you. I'm glad that you understand what I'm trying to say. It gets frustrating because, you know, like I said, and I hate being redundant, somebody's going to come out with some really incredible evidence, and you're going to get one of those people that's saying, well, you know what, yeah, and they're going to be somebody that wasn't even there when it happened. They're, oh, I can explain how that happened. Well, you know, that car over there, even though there's no window in there, but the car somehow, it got the light got captured off of that and it reflected off of this, or your camera, the infrared light on your camera reflected it and it caused a shadow off of your eyes, or some stupid ass shit. Like, I mean, it really is frustrating. Don't you get that way as
It
a
is.
paranormal investigator, that here you are, we know what we're seeing and hearing with our own eyes and ears, and there's somebody out there saying, "Oh, I can debunk that."
It is
There,
frustrating.
and when we was over at the church, there was times over the church there was no windows, no nothing,
Yeah,
and
they
we
were. Well, there was, but they were high up.
yeah, and there's car lights, no, no. The windows are way up here. So unless it's a one of those new flying cars or something, there's no way that any, it's always whatever.
I actually really like when I saw that you used bells as well, and the baby powder slash flower dusting doorways.
We did get some like boot prints right in front
We
of
still
Smitty's
don't
house.
know if that was just somebody that might have stepped in it previously
Yeah.
and then recovered it with flour, or
Yeah, we don't
what.
know.
But it's weird because we did check the bottom of our shoes and none of the prints
No.
seem to have matched.
And not only that, but if they would have stepped on the flower, there would have been prints coming out from the flower, and there was no prints leading out from where the thing was. So it was kind of like,
That's true too.
remember, because we did say that, well, even if
Yeah, that was another thing.
so, but I want to go sometime and I want to get some tape and I want to put like an X on the floor and put like a ball or a toy on the X and see if it'll move or anything, even if we go through another room or something. But there's a lot of things that I want to try it with, I mean, I had those plastic cups that I had up in a pyramid, tell knock over. There's a lot of things I want to try so that they can't say it was electronics. But then again, if it was something like those plastic solo cups, if they would have got knocked over, somebody would have said, "Oh, there must have been a gust of wind going by knocking them over," even though where I had them, there was no wind going through that area. So I don't know. But
You hear the interference that just
I
happened for
did.
some
I
reason?
did. I did. I heard that. The bell
I know
and
there's a life after death, but I've never tried to prove it. But if I did have proofs for someone saying or trying to debunk what I know to be true. Agreed.
I know there's life after death because I know for a fact that I saw my dad. When my dad passed away, we heard footsteps on the night of his funeral. We heard footsteps going up and down the stairs. We smelt whiskey, which whiskey was the only drink that he drank. And he I heard my name called, and I recognized the voice, and I looked over, my dad was sitting in his favorite chair, and he said, "Diane, everything's okay now." And then he disappeared. I saw that and heard that with my own eyes and ears, so call me crazy, I don't care. I was there, you weren't it wasn't a dream, because a dream, you're not gonna smell alcohol, and you're not gonna hear footsteps, and I asked everybody else in the house if they heard footsteps going up and down all night, and they all said yes, and nobody was up walking up and down the stairs. So, whatever. People can believe what they want, you
We're
know?
trying everything and casting out a net of different seas. I think that's it. Thank you. We try. I mean, if we have things that we think can use little energy for the spirits to manipulate somehow, we'll try it.
We still like our favorite is the flashlight. You know, I know a lot of people don't like that flashlight, but I'm telling you what, it's been really good to us. We've caught a lot of things on it. Of course, the EVP recorder. You gotta love the EVP recorder. Tom got me a little, I don't know if I can reach it. Where's it at? He got me a little fuzzy wuzzy thing that you put on the top to buffer the sound.
The Faraday cage.
Yeah, it's not, well,
Well,
no,
a
it's
Faraday
here, let me see.
something. Faraday net bag. Like it's a
It's a hairdo. It's a little hairdo.
little afro.
It's got a little hairdo. It's
A little afro. Afro.
so that way there's no interference going whatsoever on the like, because a lot of times, especially on this recorder, you'll hear a lot of times it sounds like water running or something like that in the background, and so it kind of buffers all background noise and everything, and that's same as when they put those on microphones and stuff.
It's very soft.
It is.
I
It
love
is.
it. It's like
And it does make a difference. I noticed even when we was using it the other night, everything's a lot clearer. You don't hear all that background.
Had similar experiences, but with scent of pipe. I knew it was my uncle just letting me know that he was okay.
My mom comes through a lot of times. I smell lilac, and I know my mom's or my good friend, my neighbor that is no longer with us. That
My opinion is you can be skeptical without being rude, but some people just don't seem to care about others' feelings these days.
no, they don't.
But you know, I like people being skeptical. I really do. Matter of fact, there was when we were doing a tour over at the jail. There it was a mother. I don't know if there was another person, but there was a mother and there was a young girl. I think there was a third person. I think a mother, her grandmother, and a young girl. And the mother and the grandmother was really, really into the tour and the history and that itself. The young girl, she was excited about seeing the jail, but she was pretty skeptical. And her mother, like, you know, we're walking through and that, and they're asking me about any paranormal stuff, which I don't usually like saying unless people ask. Um, you know, I usually say, hey, you know, I can tell you this, but, you know, I want you to experience on your own. So we're walking through, and there's times I would hear like the cell door close or whatever, and she's there like, and her mother say, "See, did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And yeah, I'm there. You're skeptical, aren't you, honey? And she goes, "Yeah." And her mother says, "Yeah, she don't believe in anything." Well, we got to a couple different areas in the jail, and there was things that we couldn't explain, like sounds and footsteps and stuff like that. And at one point, I think she kind of, I'm not saying she wasn't skeptical anymore, but I think she started believing because even her mother said to her, she says, "You're starting to think a little bit different, aren't you?" And she kind of like gave the smile on her face. And I think by the time she left the jail that day, that I'm not saying she wasn't skeptical anymore, but I think that her senses woke up a little bit about being possibly a believer because she did experience some things. So it was pretty cool. You know, I like people being a skeptic when they come in. You know, that's good because we, we'll go into a lot of places that people say, hey, there's a lot of activity in that. We'll go into, and we go in completely as a skeptic. Okay, especially when you first walk in, you can kind of tell within the first couple minutes, like by the feel of it. And there's places that we went to when we first went to Oakwood Cemetery down in South Carolina, where they're like, what are they talking about? This feels like a very peaceful cemetery. There's not going to be anything happening here. Well, after the certain point of night, especially after that family was doing their ritual or whatever the heck they were doing, that whole feeling completely changed from very peaceful, serene to like, you better get the heck out of there real quick. And we were warned. So I like people being skeptical. We like, there's places that we go that, we're not expecting anything. And if something happens where they're like, holy crow. So, Gabrielle, we need to see if I can get another one of these, even that's not what this is for, because as you know, it's for a cell phone, but I used it for, I can get another one there, because I wish now until we move down to the art room, then we can put this on a table like it's supposed to be, but there's no way to connect it on this table here. So we got these new microphones for a podcast and that Tom got that he got me. And there's no way to hook it up to this particular table because it has like a lip that goes down on it. So maybe that's why you can hear stuff. That's kind of weird. Whoa. So was everybody able to hear Gabriella really good when she was talking this whole time or no?
I felt dumb. Yeah, now I can hear myself.
I don't think, because I think they would have said that they couldn't hear you. So, yeah, it's right, Cat. You're right, Cactus. It is nice to be open-minded skeptic. I encourage people to be a skeptic, but there's a difference being a skeptic and being a debunker. That no matter what kind of, I hate to use the word evidence, but I'm going to say evidence that you come up with that somebody is saying, okay, I can tell you why you saw that. I can tell you why you heard that. No, you can't. You weren't there with me when it happened. So you can't explain that. Don't you think we already walked around and tried to debunk it ourselves? I think that's the part that really, maybe for other people, but I know when we investigate, we try to debunk everything ourselves. So we don't need somebody else saying, hey, I know why that happened and I know why that, no, you weren't there. So, but Gabriella Linda, there she goes again. This time it's not buttons.
This time it's everything else. My life is falling apart.
Yeah, you can have it fixed now when we're getting ready to end the show.
I think somebody messed with my microphone because it was like unscrewed the whole way. It was very loose.
Really?
Anyway. How? Finger.
I think your dad did. No, you come to think of it, I think your dad might have, because he was over here the other day, was checking something out. So he might have.
Messed with my microphone.
So, but we've been on here, it's an hour and a half. We went way off the Island of Dolls, but I hope you really liked what Gabriella researched on the Island of Dolls.
B squared something like, Gabby, push a button to end the live.
She will. So are you hinting for us to leave B squared?
Yeah, you trying to let us, you trying to get rid of
You're
us
saying
already?
that's enough.
Trying to get rid of us already.
We're going to be going anyhow. Anyhow, if you guys have any topics, if you want us to discuss on the next show, the Robert doll and Ruby and was it Ruby? Yeah, Ruby. And Annabelle, or even some of the things that
I'll try finding the origin of Ruby. Find out what her story is.
So we can touch base on that. Now, my show, I should be going on tomorrow. I have to rewrite a lot of my stuff, but I did do a lot of research. It's going to be called Good Demons. kind of an oxymoron there. Good and demons usually don't go hand in hand, but there is an explanation. I'm going to start off with angels and demons and go and explain to you why I'm saying good demons. And there is a very, 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 very big logical explanation why. Yep, good demons. Yep.
I know why.
Yeah, you'll
She
be
told me all about
yeah,
it.
you'll be going,
It's interesting, to say the least.
yeah. It's yeah, I can't you'll have to tune in. I'll probably come in tomorrow. I'm going to say I'm going to try. I'll let you guys know in the morning. I'm going to say I'm probably going to shoot for maybe 8:30 tomorrow because I like to come on a little bit earlier than Gabriella and I come on because of the dogs and everything. But it will be I'm going to start off because I think it was Kiwi. I think she asked me, why do a lot of people claim to see demons, but nobody really claims to see angels? There is an explanation for that. And the angel and demon thing ties in with the good demons. So I'll leave you out like that with like a cliffhanger. Doo, doo, doo. Where's the birds at again? This one? Nope.
Stop clicking it! Stop.
There you go. I didn't know where the birds was. There you go. So
She just shot down the birds.
I shot
guess,
down
with,
the
an
birds.
AK-47.
Yeah, I'm teasing. I am teasing. So just tune in. I'm hoping that I don't want to try to come across with real boring stuff. So I'm trying to find like the Aleister Crowley thing. I thought was really, really interesting because I found a lot of stuff out about him that I thought was like very, very intriguing was the word that I use. And the stuff that I found on the good demons.
You see what they're saying in the comments?
If you lock Michael in the cell, please stream.
I think Free Square said Michael volunteered. We're all witnesses. He did. He did up there. I saw it. Somewhere up there.
So you
He
want me
said
to
he wants
lock
to
you
be
in a
locked in
cell, Michael?
He wants to be locked in Smitty's cell.
Well, Smitty's name is Michael.
See, look, I'll even let you lock me in Smitty's
There
cell.
you go. Well, and Michael, his name is Michael too. So Michael meets Michael. I mean, that's. And we did get Michael come through on the EVP.
We did.
So,
Few
but
times.
I'm going to give you my quote and then we're going to say bye. And then I will tomorrow morning sometime announce, like I said, it'll probably be about 8:30. I think that's a good, respectable time. So with that being said, there's there's 3 quotes here and they're pertaining to haunted dolls. The first one is dolls are nothing until someone decides to pick them up and use them. The other one is during that time, they are whatever they are expected to be, whatever is commanded of them. And the last one is you say I'm not a doll, but like everyone else, that is exactly what you want me to be.
And with that,
And I don't know where those came from. So, and with that being said,
we never really say where they come from anyway.
Alright.
So, with that,
with that being said, stay tuned and
peace out.
love you guys. Bye bye.
Good night, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you later. I had too much coffee. This is not good for me.